Welcome to the Health and Wealth Podcast. This is a show dedicated to the pursuit of health and wealth without losing your health to attain that wealth. With this podcast, we're going to share stories and best practices of successful business owners who either sell health or have health as part of their business plan. You're going to get great marketing and strategic advice from proven, successful experts. We will also be sharing stories from successful entrepreneurs who lost their health on the road to wealth, what they learned, and how they do things differently now, both in business and in life. Let's welcome your host, businesswoman, personal trainer, and podcast queen, JJ Flazanes.
Welcome, everyone, to today's show. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host and producer. Thank you for downloading today's episode. Today, we're going to talk about how lessons are repeated until learned, and sometimes how long it takes us to learn one of the lessons that we have to learn in our lifetime. Today, we have one of you on the show, a listener turned client turned Inner Circle Mastermind member, Christel Weyerich. Christel and I did this interview also on video, and the first couple seconds we're actually kind of doing things that are visual. So if you want to come check it out, go to jjflazanes.tv to watch the video. We're having a good time. Christel Weyerich decided to start making soap and lotion in 2018 while working a full-time corporate job as a creative outlet. She has been on a wonderful soul-searching journey filled with self-love, reflection, and making time to express her creative side. Passions inform everything she does, from meticulous selection of the right products to working with people who care as much about the environment as she does. She makes products that are super effective, wonderful to use, and good for the body and soul. In addition to her passion of providing high vibrational, all-natural self-care products, she is a gifted tarot card reader, and we have a very special offer for you today at the end of the show. You can check out her products at healingcrystal.com. Again, that's healingcrystal, CHRISTEL.com, and all the links will be in the show notes. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome, everyone. Step one. Step 2. Step 3. And step 4. So for those of you that are on the podcast, you're thinking, what the hell are they doing? Come on over to the video and check us out, jjflazanes.tv. I've got with me today Christel Weyerich. Christel is the owner of Healing Crystal. And what we did right there was just a little bit of a clearing, the Tibetan bell to start the space. We did her clearing spray, which has sage and Palo Santo in it, which is great for clearing your energy. We preceded that with a selenite stone. We both have selenite wands. Again, that's also good for resetting and clearing your energy. And then we finished off with her rose spray. Rose, as you know, is the highest vibration in the world in terms of flower. They're beautiful, and the smell is very healing for you. And so setting the intention of love and success and abundance and joy and heart-centeredness is what we wanted to do today to get the show started. Christel, thanks for being here.
Thank you, JJ. It's good to be back.
So Christel's been on the show before. Tell us all what when you first appeared on the scene.
Episode 209.
Episode 209. And that was before. A lot has happened since episode 209. And by the way, everyone, that's episode 209 on spirit, purpose, and energy. She's been on other of the shows, just it's not going to be that number. And that was right before the Manifestation Boot Camp. And that was only literally a year ago. But so much has happened in the last year. One of the things that I wanted to bring Christel on to talk about, because she represents you guys. She represents a combination of me and sort of the growth I'm on and the people who are the closest to me within that I work with on a similar path. But she represents someone who's come from the audience who has said, hey, I want to do what you're doing. Hey, I want to be on this journey. Hey, I need some help. And tracking progress of someone who's been listening for a while. You know, a lot of you have been listening for a while and we don't know you. We don't know how this work has changed you or what it's done to help you. I do get testimonial people coming in and telling me, some of you in Inner Circle, like Penny, thank you, and Shannon, you guys out there come to the events. But for those of you that are quiet, I have no idea what's going on out there. And isn't it nice to hear from someone just like you, who was a listener, who has decided to take action in changing their life. And then you get to hear about the progress and lessons learned along the way. So today's show, we are going to title Lessons are repeated until learned, because it is a theme for many people, or all people, really. It's just one of the 10 rules of living from Dr. Cherie Carter Scott. And I love this one because, again, it makes you take a step back and look at your patterns. And I know for me, along the way, I can mention a few different ways in which I've finally learned the lesson, or I looked at myself and I said, well, there it is again. Oh, showing up again. Guess I didn't learn that yet. And I wanted to bring Christel on today so we could talk about some of those lessons are repeated until learned. So Christel, let's start out with, for those who haven't heard from you before, they don't know what you do, they don't know who you are, they don't know anything about you. Can we do a little brief, this is who I am?
Yes. So I am Christel Weyerich from St. Louis, Missouri, and I found JJ, let me think, almost 3 years ago. So just a little background on how I found JJ. I know some of you have heard this before, but I was just in a very blah, not loving place, and just struggling a lot with various things in my life. So I actually went to a therapist, and I love telling the story because it's just fun. So she was like, hey, you need to listen to a podcast on law of attraction. So I searched law of attraction, and spirit, purpose, and energy came up. So it was the week before your first event. So I missed that, but I've been to every event since. No longer need my therapist. So a little bit about me. Been working one-on-one with JJ, part of her mastermind. I am a wife, a mom of 2 boys. I work a full-time corporate job, and now I have my own side business too, Healing Crystal. I'm just a completely different person than I was 2 years ago. I mean, obviously, my little fun, silly side is there, but I have a lot of great stories to share on how I was then compared to now. And it's so interesting, JJ, like when we do our one-on-one, or not our group calls with the inner circle, I just want to scream sometimes when someone's saying something, because I was that person before, and I'm like, felt like there was no hope or whatever. And I want to be like, that was me. I totally know what you're going through. But everyone has to learn it on their own. Everyone has their own lessons. And I'm just here to say, listen, I am a Taurus, and I got unstuck, never going back in that negative place again.
So it's an important thing to mention. I was thinking about this morning as we were getting ready for today, how many Tauruses I attract. Why do you think I attract Tauruses? Literally, like I'm like counting them on my hands in terms of the people in the inner circle.
You do attract Tauruses.
Why do you think that is? Because you're the most stubborn
I
ones
know.
of them all.
I think it's because we finally hit a point where it's like, if you can get me out of my stubbornness, if you can actually change the way I'm thinking of something, because my first thing is, no, I'm not going to do that. Or no, that's not going to work for me. So if you're able to change that and flip it, then yeah, this is someone I want to stick with. And, obviously I have to do the work, but you opened my mind to, no, you can do it. And here's the reasons why, or you're stuck in your story. And so just hearing things differently is what got me unstuck. But yeah, the stubborn Taurus is like, we want help, but we're pretty much going in thinking, yeah, you're not going to help me. And you did. I found the right person.
I love that. I'm going to pay to sit to, even though I think you're going to be wrong. Right. Yeah, I totally see that.
I am going to pay you just so I can prove that you can't fix me. But guess what? You did.
Well, there was no fixing to be had. You're perfect just the way you are. And everyone who's out there, our lessons are repeated until learned. That's the point of today's show. Mm-hmm. That you are on your journey, on your path. There are a few people that I can think of off the top of my head who are not ready to learn their lessons. They're just not. And that's okay. And that's where you're going to be. But if you can keep in the back of your mind that lessons are repeated until learned, at some point, you will say, okay, I want to get off this train because it keeps going in circles, and it's time for me to do something different. It's time for me to step out of my comfort zone. It's time for me to do something that scares the shit out of me because I'm tired of being on this train. And you said something really funny the other day. You said, yeah, it was like Groundhog Day in my life.
Yes, it was Groundhog Day. Everything was on repeat. It's like the same thing every year. The only difference was I'm getting older and it's like, okay, it's time to get out of this Groundhog Day, or I would be on a high for a while and then something would happen and then I would uh what's that word I always do to
Sabotage?
myself? Yeah, I always sabotage myself. And it would happen all the time. And the thing we were just talking about the other day was this time of year, and it's like all these one time end of year bills come up. And I'm like, I'm just so mad. It's like, where did my money go? And I'm like, as soon as I was saying it to you, it clicked, whereas it didn't click before. I'm like, oh, well, this is another Groundhog Day. All right, every year this happens, this happens. It's the same thing. I know what to do, but it's like I purposely sabotage myself to put me in this situation, Obviously, I can plan for it better. Obviously, I can make things happen so that I can bring in money quicker, but I think I want to be that victim and that's one of those things that was on repeat.
So we identified 4 lessons that were being repeated until learned that now you feel you've learned them. So let's share the first one of those lessons that you learned.
Okay, so the first one, and this goes back, oh, yeah, 9 or 10 years. So this was way before I knew about law of attraction. But negative thoughts bring about negative actions. And so my example of this one was the place I worked at the time. It's like every single January, you knew that they were gonna have layoffs, and it kinda became a joke with us, like, "Oh, do you have your box packed? Are you gonna be the one?" So, it was half joking, but, I'm like, "Oh, my boss likes me, that's not gonna happen to me," "I do a good job, I haven't ever done anything wrong." But I was saying that but then I was packing up my box every single January and putting it under my desk because in my head I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, if I get let go, what if they forget this picture?" Or, I have my friends' emails and I, want to make sure I print those off. So it's like I pretty much prepared myself to be let go. And yeah, guess what? I was let go. It's like, so that of course, back then I didn't realize I manifested myself. I was in victim mode. Why did this happen to me? Why do bad things always happen to me? I'm a good person. Oh, it wasn't that. I brought it on myself. I prepared for it. I packed my box for God's sake, cleaned out my office. So, so that was a good example of something that I brought on myself, and that's a lesson I learned now. If you're gonna put yourself in that mindset, or I'm not gonna lose the weight. I have a thyroid problem. Oh, I'm over 40 now. Okay, well, keep telling yourself that story, and guess what? You're not going to. So that's a big lesson I learned.
Okay, so what is lesson number 2?
Okay, lesson number 2 was giving my power away. So, I think I gave my power away in several different ways. I was always people pleasing, making sure that everyone else around me was happy, but I didn't realize that that necessarily wasn't making myself happy. So, a big lesson learned was I have to make myself happy, and everyone else is responsible for their own happiness, and I can't bring it on for those people. So, there was someone I was great friends with at work, and that's the first time, well, at your event is the first time I heard the word energy vampire. And this person was an energy vampire. And, I really enjoyed talking to him. And, we had a lot of things in common. We worked on the same projects, but he was a victim. And, it seemed like, oh, we would chit chat and I'd, enjoy our conversations, but then I wouldn't hear from him again. Or I'm like, oh, did he just take my work idea and I'm never going to hear from him again? That's real cool. Did he just use me for my, my great idea? So that's kind of an example of taking power away too. It's like, think of it as someone at work who uses your idea and doesn't give you credit for it. All right. So, another example of the same situation, I would be in a great mood. thinking, okay, I'm making changes in my life. I'm feeling good about myself. And I was just happy when I would walk into work and you could just count it like, it was clockwork. And boom, my phone would ring. And guess who it was? And then all of a sudden, I noticed my vibration went from super high to low. By the end of it, I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Wow, they really criticized me. What did I do to deserve this? So it's like energy vampire, they just sucked all that positive energy and then they went off and their ego was high and they're having a great day. And I'm feeling like, God, I suck, So that was a big realization for me. People I thought that I enjoyed having conversations with and thought we had things in common wasn't the case at all. My energy was being used. It's like, oh, this person rocks. I need to steal her energy. So, it's really interesting. I got phone calls after that and I wouldn't take them. And it's hilarious how they come back and say, "Hey, are you avoiding me or something?" And I'm just like, "Oh no, but feel free to reach out to someone on my team. They'll be able to help you." So that was me taking my power back. I don't have to talk to you if you're going to make me feel like crap. So that was another example.
But you also overcame, while there are energy vampires, absolutely, we have to allow them to take our energy. So I know that there have been times where sometimes it's easy to avoid those people or disconnect from those people because you think, well, they're not, they're toxic, they're low vibration, they're energy vampires. And that's true. Did you find that you could at times, though, deal with them, be with them, talk with them, and not give your energy away?
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially since I started attending more of the events and learning more about law of attraction. Nothing. I mean, now I can have work conversations and nothing can be said to me that bothers me. And that goes back to another one of the life lessons is people are mirrors. It's like, why did it bother me that he would criticize or saying, oh, yeah, well, you don't really work hard or something like that. And I'm like, why does that bother me? Oh, well, clearly that's just something I was thinking about myself. So, and my stomach would kind of get nuts when I would get these calls, whether it's from him or my boss before my current position. Oh man, he was just a total narcissist. And I think that's what my problem was. I attracted narcissists, whether they were like male friends at work or my boss or what. And my stomach would get nuts when I would get ready to have these conversations. And that's my body saying, yo, there's something wrong, Yeah, I cannot remember the last time I was nervous about having a conversation because I'm like, you know, I have full confidence in what I'm doing, and if they don't understand it, then I will explain to them what I'm doing, and that's the end of it. I don't read into people's tones anymore. I don't read into, I'm like, if they're crabby, it's not me. There's something else going on their side. So that's a big difference. Before I would take everything like, oh, this is about me. This is about me, when it wasn't.
That's awesome. What tools or practices or processes do you think helped you get there?
So I know during one of our one-on-one sessions we did tapping, and tapping helps me a lot. One time I was so aggravated with someone at work, and you're like, okay, let's tap. And I was like, round one, I'm like, I just don't understand why she is just such a bitch. I'm like, she goes after everyone. She takes, this person just takes credit for everyone else's work. And, I don't understand why nobody sees through it. I was just going on and on and on. And then by round two, I think you could see all of a sudden my shoulders are kind of down and I'm more relaxed. Like I had my aha moment because I was like, she's going to say something to my boss about me and it's going to affect my bonus. And then I was like, oh, there it is. There it is. I am giving her my power. I have fear that something she's going to say is going to affect my money or my job. And that goes back to the past job too. Like, oh, now I'm going to lose my job. And it clicked in the tapping, like, oh, yeah, it's all right if she's the way she is, but I can't think that this has anything to do with me. So now I show more compassion. And, all husbands and wives fight, and me and Mark, we'll get in our arguments too. But just in my mom too, I'll use my mom as an example. But just during our one-on-one conversations, I know that and as a Taurus, this is hard, but compassion, I can show a lot more or think. Okay, show compassion before I'm quick to argue back and have the last word. I can be like, oh, okay, so what's going on with him that's causing him to be like this? Or why is my mom, giving me the guilt treatment about this or that? So when I can pull back and understand why they're kind of acting that way and let them have their moment, that helps a lot also. So just it's not just one technique. I've learned so much with the live events and our one-on-one conversations. So, we did Imago at the events, the tapping, listen to our body.
So many things. Well, I just wanted to, there are so many things and you've done a lot. And so just so everyone's clear, Christel has been to literally every event except the very first one. And when I mean every event, I haven't done a public event this year, 2020, because I did the Mastermind. So she's in the Mastermind. And of course she's been to the Mastermind live event that we had, and events. By the time this airs, we'll have had the second one, which will be actually far superior to the first one, by the way. And I can't wait to have it. So I want to go back over your lesson. So, for those of you that are out there, and I know a lot of you, not all of you, welcome if you're new to me. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. This stuff doesn't change everything about you. I had a coaching session last week with a coach because there was something bugging me. And I didn't actively use all my tools. I probably could have spent a little bit of time, but I thought, I need some outside counsel on this one because I'm not seeing it. It's not coming to me. And plus I wanted to work with this person. It was Dr. Sri Carter-Scott, who she's been on the show. So we had a fabulous session. It only took about 40 minutes for me to identify what it was. Right. But I learned so much in that session. And, you can know a lot of things. I have a lot of clients that are therapists and I love them to death in case you're going to watch or listen to this, but you get in your own damn way because you think, oh, I know all of this. Okay. But what you know and what you do are two different things. And when we can talk to and defend our limitations because we're aware of them, it doesn't mean that makes it go away. And there's a difference between cerebral learning and emotional processing. And on my coaching session, we did more cerebral processing and cerebral learning, if you will. And then right after my coaching session, because what I needed to do was go emotionally process. And at that point, I pulled out one of my tools that I use, and it's not my tool, but the Imago couples dialogue, because I needed the space to be vulnerable, to dig and unearth any remaining lack of forgiveness I had for myself. And as soon as I did that work, and I did a bunch of other physical things too in that night, my relationship to the situation was completely different. And so sometimes it's a combination of tools and techniques, but I know for some people there's like game changers and I know for you in that tapping session that we did, for those that have never done any tapping or whatever. And I'm going to give a shout out to Dee right now, because those of you who are in my mastermind and inner circle, I have encouraged you to watch the movie Heal. And it's on Netflix. It's not new. It's been around for a while. Reverend Michael's in it. Dr. Joe Dispenza's in it. Bruce Lipton is in it. And she had watched the movie Heal. And there's a woman who does tapping with one of the subjects in the movie. And Dee says, "You are way harder on me than that woman was on her." And literally as I was watching it, I was like, well, she's not making any changes. She's not hitting the root of what's going on with this woman. And she barely had a tear. And then she moved on to something. And I thought, and I'm no disrespect to whoever that person was that did the tapping, but I literally thought, no, this is not breaking through. And for you started out with, and everyone can tap on their own. I mean, it's something that if you have some real big trauma, I wouldn't recommend it. You want to work with somebody. But if it's just general things in life that kind of keep triggering you, you want to find out what it means for you. And you started out blaming. You were in the it's that person's fault, and right. And you were mad, and we were fine. You were mad, and we went, okay, I'm going to be mad until I'm done being mad, and then I'm going to make this about what does this mean about me. And then when the story shifted, what does this mean about me? The awareness happened, and then we could go deeper into that emotion to feel it, to desensitize it, and then continue tapping until it kind of leveled out. And then now it wasn't really an issue. And then you have information about what to do about it, but I think we have to have both. We have to have an understanding about what's going on. You can't just go to a healer. Sorry, guys. You can't just go to a healer and have them heal something. Wooey fooey boo, you're done. Does it help energetically? Absolutely. Can it unblock you? Absolutely.
Yes. And
but
I have done that. But yeah, it's a temporary fix and you have to do the work. And, as a Taurus, I like living in my box, and I did not want to be uncomfortable. And that was a lot of it. And I have done a lot of things that make me uncomfortable. And that is part of my growth. And, even when you're like, do the tapping, we were on a Zoom and I'm like, no, I don't want to do it, with you watching me. And, I don't want to cry in front of you. I've had those times a lot, but you're like, no, do it. So then I do a round one. I'm like, okay, yeah. And you're like, again. And I'm like, but, so yeah, it was definitely getting me out of my comfort zone, but it worked, so.
And how do you feel now about being vulnerable in front of me or anyone else?
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't bother me anymore.
We had to get through it that one or two times until you're
right.
like, oh, I feel the difference. See, I think that a lot of people don't see, a lot of you who are holding on to the same patterns and habits and who are afraid to be vulnerable, afraid to step out of your comfort zone, afraid to feel unsafe. It's a mindset, by the way. It's not reality. And all of you that think that there's some kind of stability. Yeah. All of you Tauruses that think there's some like, oh, this is my box. Yeah. Your box is in your mind. Like the box doesn't actually exist. If you work for someone else, you can be fired at any time. If you work for yourself, you rely on yourself 100% to learn how to make money, manifest money, be in the right alignment. Anytime in a relationship, that person could decide something different. There is no box really, but we think there is, but it's really what we think in our mind. It's the stories that we tell ourselves to keep us in this like safety zone. And for Tauruses especially, and I'm not beating up on Tauruses, although Fabrizio is probably very excited. I'm not talking about Capricorns today. However, I will say that all earth signs do have the same stability, yearning, and tendencies. But Tauruses especially live in that box a little bit more. And it can be a little bit judgy about all kinds of things. And those are the two traits about Tauruses I think keep you guys stuck sometimes. And again, making you manifest something so big, it literally has to push you because you're unwilling to take a risk otherwise. And for you, I know when you first wrote to me, you had like multiple areas of life that you were freaking out about. And that email said literally like, get this. It wasn't hi, JJ. It wasn't I listened to your show. It was literally like out of the blue, get this. And then it was your story. And you're like, what do I do about it? And I'm like, okay, she wants some answers. I'm like, well, I can't help you through a damn email. So, and so there started the conversation.
I'm like, don't even BS me. Are you able to help me or not? If you are, let's set up a call. If not, just tell me to lose your email.
Well, I think it all worked out. I'm going to go back to these lessons. And I also want to go back to the mirror at the end too, that you talked about. So lesson number 1 was about giving your power away, or no, the Groundhog Day of manifesting. It was about manifesting, being in the frequency of worrying about something bad happening, preparing for something bad happening, and then having that said thing happen because you literally prepared for it. All right. And then the second one was giving your power away, and especially with energy vampires. So what's number 3 lesson learned?
Oh my gosh. I gotta get over the whole holding grudges again.
Oh, that's a Taurus thing. Oh my God.
Oh, JJ, it's terrible. Like, oh my gosh, I can think of almost every relationship I've been in, going back to my high school boyfriend. Like, you couldn't pay me any money. I'm pretty sure he's not listening to this. You could not pay me enough money in the world to go out with that person again. But I'll be darned, I needed to know, does he have regrets? Is he sorry for hurting me? Am I like the biggest thing he missed out on in his life? Why the heck do I care if he's feeling this or not? It's like I needed that validation. Ha, you were wrong in what you did. And now I'm validated. I feel good. I don't care if I ever see you again, but I want that validation that you were wrong and I was right. And that is like a horrible mindset to live in, but that's my grudges, just give me my satisfaction in knowing that it wasn't me, it was you. And so that was a huge lesson. I don't need that validation anymore. Now it's like, one of my friends says, rejection is God's protection, is what she would tell me. And I like that. It's kind of like, so many people are in victim mode. Why did this happen to me? And, especially like when you're younger and um, insecure anyway, which I was very insecure. It's like, I just want to be with this person. And now I can look back and be like, oh gosh, yeah. Uh, the universe clearly was like, this is not the person you should be with. And so now I don't question why things happen. It's like, okay, well, I'm either going to figure out the reason why it did happen, or, just know that there's something going on with them. And that's why we had a disagreement or a fight or a misunderstanding, whether it's a friend or a coworker or a spouse or whatever. But holding on to grudges, just now that I know more about energy and healing, and I know that holding that in makes me physically or mentally sick. It's like, it's not healthy to dwell on something negative, because then it just seems like you can't ever seem to notice all the good things that are happening, which, it's kind of hard for good things to happen when you're so focused on, oh, poor me. So, yeah.
Well, for the people that though, okay, let's talk to those other Tauruses, right? Because it is a very Taurus thing to like, and it's because for those of you that are curious, and again, I'm only addressing the Taurus part of Crystal. She has a rising that's Cancer and a moon that's Leo, and some of that kind of plays into, but the Taurus sign does come second, right? So Aries is first, Taurus is second. Aries is very black, white, yes, right, wrong, like right, wrong, left, right, all that, like very dichotomy, like picking a side, duality. And when you move into, and they don't like, there's no gray. Aries has a hard time sometimes in different positions having a gray. It's usually yes or no. I mean, I've experienced this. I have my Venus is in Aries. So for you, Taurus is just one step past Aries. So we're still coming out of that simplification of right, wrong, good, bad, yes, no. So someone's right, someone's wrong. There's a lot of generalities Tauruses make about, and again, guys, I'm generalizing, okay, because you're not just your sun sign, you're all of the signs. You're all of your different planets combined, like why you can have 10 chocolate cakes and they're all different because there's 10 different recipes. So for you, having that sort of knee jerk, and it is a knee jerk of understanding that you're going to be judgy, you're going to be victimy, you're going to be right, wrong, stubborn, make somebody wrong, and then stick to that. Well, you have to admit you're wrong for me to feel better. And I think that's a really important thing for people to hear, because as I'm sure people do it that aren't Tauruses, right? Like you stay with this principle of they're wrong, I'm right. And I'm going to be mad until you acknowledge that. Let's talk about the mirror aspect of that. What do you think, or what have you learned for yourself that means for you? Like, I love that what you said about, I don't want to hold that negative energy. The negative energy, like I love the amount of self-respect and self-love that you have now to recognize that holding on to that kind of energy is bad for you. It's bad for your frequency. It's bad for your health. So, but what in terms of a mirror do you think that showed you about you?
I think it was, again, it's not about the other person, it's about me. So if I'm needing that validation, it seems like I was needing to give it to myself. Yeah, this happened because you do not need this in your life, or there's something better out there for you. It wasn't I needed validation from someone else. I needed it from myself. I needed self-acceptance from myself, not from someone else.
Beautiful. That's a very good lesson to learn, Crystal.
Well, thank you.
Okay, what is the fourth lesson?
The fourth lesson. Okay, so I think over the last 2 years, I have definitely become less reactive. One of the stories you shared at the event was, when something bad happens to you, and then you go and call your friend and tell them about it, and then you tell someone else about it, that immediately made me think of this example. So, driving to work, back when I was driving to work, me and my friend would always talk on our way to work. So it was our quality time to catch up. It seemed like it was, again, Groundhog Day on repeat. Every morning seemed chaos. One of my boys wasn't getting out the door in time, or, Mark overslept. So then I was late getting in the shower. And then, you know, so it was like, it seemed like there was always something going on that just made me in a bad mood driving to work. So then I would call my friend Kara, and then she's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh. Well, Mark said he was getting up at 6. He didn't get up till 7. Then I get in the shower, and then I just go through all this stuff that just aggravated me. And then she would vent about her morning. And then I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I didn't realize it then, but then I was getting to work, and then it kind of just set the tone for my whole day. But then when you mentioned the whole, okay, telling someone else and then telling someone else, it totally made me think of this. And I came back and called my friend on the way to work. I'm like, okay, here's one of the things I learned at this event. So we can't just um, totally go off and, stay in our stories about this and that happening. I'm like, if we need to vent about something, we'll vent about it, but then we have to let it go, or we have to say, okay, no, why are we glad that it happened? So it's finding appreciation around that thing that happened. So, I would say, I just want to start the conversation. I'm a little annoyed that Mark got up late and it caused me to leave later. And then Brady was later at school, and it really frustrated me. But I'm super excited because that's less time that Brady had to go to before care school, because it's already a long day for him. And there's no traffic now because I'm leaving later, and I got to work a lot faster. So pivoting, and what do I appreciate about it? I missed this accident because of it. There was an accident that happened early on. So it's like, okay, I have to vent to somebody, but then I'm gonna let it go. Okay, I'll tell you, but I'm not gonna go and tell 10 more people about my horrible morning. And, step 1. Step 2, find the appreciation around it. And it's amazing. It's like magic, JJ, how all of a sudden my mornings were not so chaotic anymore once I kind of shifted my mindset. So yeah.
Very basic law of attraction
Yeah.
exercise right there, folks. Milking the good stuff, pivoting, and rampage appreciation. And if you're going to say that negative thing, so for those of you that journal and you journal your negative stories, stop immediately. Just stop telling the story about why this bad thing happened to you and how upset you are about it. Don't put that pen to paper without coming to terms with why you appreciate that it had to happen this way. And it was a blessing in disguise that you didn't know. And maybe you don't even know it yet. And maybe you're working through that. Maybe it won't be revealed to you now or ever, but that somehow you trust that this was meant to be. And like you said, rejection is God's way of protection. I think that was beautiful. I love that your friend said that. All right. So we've got our four major lessons. I'm sure there's more in there that we could identify. I mean, you've been with me now for a little over 2 years. The next big step was your first event in September of 2018. and my life started dramatically changing. And then, obviously you've been with me ever since. So one of the things that you decided to jump into was my first beta test mastermind program. And I know you jumped in because you wanted support around health things like exercising and eating and weight loss and all that kind of stuff. But what you came out with was a business. And you probably didn't even know going in that you were going to start a business. So we could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so before that actually happened, when I came back from the next big step, I was kind of like, oh, all these entrepreneurs. And I was one of the few moms that was there. So I'm like, that's one of the things I want to do when I get back home, is just more time trying to find my hobby or something fun for me to do. And it's not just, okay, I have to do this and then go to sports. And then, I wanted something for my own. So I took a little soap making class, and that was kind of fun. And then I took a lotion making class, and I gave them as Christmas presents to my family and my friends. And then I kind of started growing more from that. And so once the whole beta mastermind started, I'm like, oh, you know what? I could probably take some of these craft shows and you would just mention something like, "Oh, make some clearing spray, do a rose spray," and then, the products just started growing, and I was thinking, "Oh, I don't know about this," but, because I had a full-time job or whatever, but then I went to craft shows and people liked my things. And, oh my gosh, and I remember you saying, "Make sure you take pictures of your booth and your products and your labels," and I'm so glad I did because, in 2 years, looking at where I started and how my products look now and the products I offer now, I I really made this more than a hobby. This is my baby. This is my business, and it just is very therapeutic to me. It's not about, making millions. It's about creating and liking what I'm doing and socializing and talking to people and them using my products and it just it's something that's all mine and it's very therapeutic. So yeah, so then the next mastermind came along and wow, oh my gosh, what a year this has been. It's been very interesting because, the big first year of mastermind was also when COVID hit. So which is probably a great time to do it because we all had to learn how to pivot. During one of our first meetings, I'm like, "Okay, I have from, January through May set up of craft fairs and events I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna bring in all this money," and everything was canceled. And so then I had to dip down to the thing I was avoiding, the uncomfortable stuff, and get on social media more, build out my website, change my labeling, um, do the videos, do the marketing, and all that stuff that, I really didn't have to do when I was just going to a craft fair. But you know what? Craft fairs, take up my weekends too. So, I was just kind of scared to put myself out there. And again, that goes back to the whole rejection. But, I kind of, from the beginning of this business, had the mindset of if people don't like my stuff, they won't buy it. And everything I make is stuff I use. So, whatever. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And you're probably going to ask me this question, but I'm just going to keep talking about the mastermind. We've been talking about continuing with the mastermind. And me and Charlene, another lady in the mastermind who did my website, shout out to Charlene. So gorgeous. Oh my gosh. That new website is just, yeah. Again,
Everyone, make sure you check it out. It's healingcrystal.com. Continue.
yep. Yes. So we had a VIP day with you. And so, there was things I was working on in the background, the beginning of the year, my labels and this and that. But since September, when we had our VIP day, I have been gas on the pedal nonstop. It was like I was big time in that frequency of receiving, and I was just writing and writing and doing my marketing plan for the rest of the year and more ideas. And oh my gosh, I just came back with so much excitement, not only stuff that I was going to finish doing this year, but things I wanted to do next year. So there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to continue on in the mastermind because, there's just so much. And then already thinking of other things I want to do, which will be in next year. But, with that whole conversation we had earlier, it's like, "Oh gosh, this time of year and the scarcity feeling and the money," and I was kinda my stomach was a little nervous, like, I don't understand what's going on with me because clearly I know and I want to be in this mastermind, but I'm not sure why I'm having weird feelings about it. And then like, things just click now, and that didn't happen before, and when was it? Yesterday or the day before? It just clicked. I'm like, "Hey, JJ, I know, you know that I'm joining the mastermind, but, I'm not doing the essential track. I'm gonna do the executive." And I think I kinda surprised you. And, we had that conversation, and once I got done, I just felt all this excitement, so I knew it was right. And I think that's what the issue was before. It wasn't about money or time or anything like that or traveling. It wasn't about any of that. it was, I think, my body telling, no, you need more. You need more. Do you really only want to work one-on-one with JJ 4 times when our last one-on-ones, I've been coming back with like huge ideas and yeah, so I think once I realized, oh, that's what this whole thing is about, you know.
Let
Mhm.
me jump in here. So for those of you, so in the mastermind, there are 2 levels. I've created 2 tracks for 2021, and one is the essential, which just means it's enough time, not enough touch time with me. There is a VIP day, and there's 4 one-on-ones, and then there's the live events, and then there's the group calls that we have twice a month. And so there's enough there to get somebody and to have some good progress and some movement. And I created that. Talking about scarcity, I created that because I wanted an option for people who weren't 100% in their business and they were doing a side business and they couldn't justify in their mind, spending a lot of money on a mastermind when it wasn't their full-time business yet. Or they didn't even know what their ideas are. Because I have a few people who are still working out what their zone of genius is and testing their ideas and seeing what's easy and what feels good. So Christel was one of those people that, it was like, here, I'm just going to give you, this is the level it's not a big step from where you were last year financially. And it is less time of mine, but it's like it's an easy yes. And, but of course, then what I wanted to do from the beginning is everybody be in the executive level. And that, again, I have no judgment. I'm happy for whichever level people are interested in. But when you said, I think I want to do the executive level, I was like, okay. And it felt right for me too. I'm not, again, people who are listening to this, I'm not about trying to push anybody into an offer because I need your money. I trust 100% that I'm going to get the right people in the right place at the right time for the right reasons. But I've been coaching long enough and I've been working with these tools long enough to see where you're blocked, to see when people are stuck, to see when people need help and want more, and to see I've been a business owner for 20 years. I'm talking from experience of what I've gone through as well as seeing others. And so when someone says they want to take that bigger reach, that bigger leap, I'm going to get behind you 100% because energetically what you're telling the universe is you believe in you. You are ready to do the work. You are ready to receive more because you're ready to invest more in yourself. And, for the people that are, again, no disrespect. Again, like I said in the beginning of the show, you're going to learn your lessons in the time you learn them. And lessons will be repeated until you learn them. But when you say, oh my gosh, that's expensive, I can't afford to do that, but yet you're expecting the universe is going to deliver you the most amazing opportunities and sales when you aren't willing to believe in yourself at that level, we attract where we are. We don't attract what we want without being in vibrational frequency with that. You attract where you are. So when you literally pony up and say, this is a risk and I'm going to do it because I believe in myself, the universe will respond. And I'm excited for you and for some of the other people who I know are going to take that track because of, again, that energetic commitment to yourself and that momentum and that support and that belief. And again, as I was discussing, I believe on the last show that I talked about, how can I, it's not a hard stretch to try to figure out, well, how can I make this money back quickly? What can I be doing? And so something one of the things that I know you were not ready for, if I allowed you as your coach to just go, yeah, I'm going to let you on your Taurus-y timeline of dragging your feet until somebody pushes you to say, you're ready for this. You're like, well, I think I'd like to secretly do tarot next year. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that. You told me that at the dining room table after we were recording, having brunch when you were here for the VIP day. And what did I make you do 2 days later? I said, no, you're going to sell it now. So Christel turned right around and offered it in the membership to people and in the mastermind, a hugely discounted rate to do her tarot reading. And it's something she's very good at. I paid her instantly to do it for me. I've never had you do it for free. But again, I know the fear becomes like, oh, I'm doing Healing Christel. And by the way, everyone, there's going to be a book and there's going to be courses and there's going to be products that are coming out of this because Healing Christel literally is healing Christel. And so this is the journey, and the journey will be shared. The journey can be repeated, and the journey can inspire others to do the same. So she's made this product line, which, by the way, they're amazing. I love her products. Yes, I've told her to make most of them. No, I'm kidding. I will tell you, every time I wanted to buy something that I'm like, I don't want to go to the store or order this online. I want to buy it from you. Hey, please make me salt baths. I love Epsom salt baths, and I want them, and yes, please make the rose spray, and please make the clearing spray, and please make the immunity roll on, because I don't want to buy this from somebody else. And what else else if I told you to make. Please make me shower gel. I want shower gel, right? I just like, Christel, go make this for me because I don't want to buy it from anybody else. And so, I love your products. And but this next conversation right now is really about that, again, stretching. You besides stretching yourself into going from the essential to the executive this year, coming 2021, which we just discussed like literally yesterday, which was like so exciting for both of us. And I love that you felt excited about it. You felt excited about taking that risk and that leap. And it's not really a risk because when you believe in yourself and you know you're going to get support and you see the possibilities. And I think that's the difference is that you have literally tuned yourself in the last 2 years to see more, to see greater, to see yourself better, to heal yourself and to be compassionate about what you're capable of and to see possibility versus, again, like the normal person and Tauruses, right? Like you said, your first knee-jerk reaction should be like, no, I don't believe you. That can't happen. And to really not milk the good stuff or the possibility, but to stay stuck in, this is all I know. This is the frequency I'm used to. This is the environment I'm used to. And so because I don't know it, it scares me. So I'm just going to say no, and I'm going to put resistance up. Like, I think you've become so much more open and less resistant. Even when you have resistance, like you said, you pivot quickly and you get over it quickly. And that just may be how you make peace with your Taurusness, is to say, okay, so maybe all the time when something is the right thing, the first thing that happens is I say no to it. And then I start to look at, well, why do I have resistance? And maybe I need to turn around and look at that thing I said no to that scares me. And maybe that's exactly the right thing I need to do because it scares me and it's going to stretch me. So with I want to talk a little bit about what that felt like for you. But when you were able to finally verbalize, I'm going to start doing tarot readings I'm going to do it next year though, not ready yet. And then I said, no, you're doing it now. And then you did it. So talk a little bit about that.
Oh yeah. 6 months ago, you were, well, okay. So when you said, no, you're going to do it now, you're like, you're going to post a video right now and you're going to do it. 6 months ago, I would have been like, no. First of all, my first thought would be like, what makes me so special? Why would people want a reading from me? Why me? Oh, I would judge myself and give myself self-doubt. And, especially the video part. No, JJ, I can't stand the way I am on videos. Let me just think about it. I think it was one of those things where, there are kind of judgy people with the whole tarot thing, but obviously, I'm not attracting those people. These are my people that I'm attracting with the tarot. So, you were like, just put it out there and do it. And that's where I think I've shown the biggest growth. Like an hour later, I'm like, okay, hey everyone, here's the deal. And I was open to receive. I'm like, okay, I can't, JJ can easily say, I told you what to do and you didn't do it, like, are you not making any money? Well, are you marketing? No, so it's one of those things. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what she tells me to do. And then I can say, I told you it wouldn't work when it doesn't work. No, I'm just kidding, JJ. So I said, all right, I'm just you're the expert on this. Did the video.
You did two of them. You did a funny one in the Mastermind with the curlers, with the curls. Yeah, I wish sometimes the Facebook and the Instagram filters worked better, like the one you did when we were in Atlanta with the crying was hilarious. Oh my God. Those of us that were there, Dee and Charlene and I were laughing our butts off. And then of course nobody else could hear it. But yeah, you did a funny one that was like your personality. And then you did a kind of conservative one for the Inner Circle membership. But tell everybody how many you sold in like 2 days.
Yeah. I didn't want to scare away your inner Circle members by being crazy.
Yourself by being your crazy fun self. Yeah. Go on. How many did you sell?
So I did it in I think 10 days, probably less than 10 days, 12 readings I did in 10 days. So and I must say I loved it. And it was one of those things where I would do the readings and I forgot I was actually getting paid for it because I enjoyed it so much. And like, oh, is there anything else you want to ask? No, I think I'm good. I'm like, well, let's just look and see what it says about the rest of the year. Like, so I was continuing on. So first of all, it's a way longer reading than most people probably get. But I was enjoying it. And I finally understood that whole meaning, about enjoying what you do. It doesn't feel like work. because I'm like telling Mark too. I'm like, I can't believe someone paid me to read their cards, and then like with Maureen, I know she won't mind that I'm mentioning her name. Okay, I'm still getting to know this. This is why I really want people's feedback, on how I'm doing. But it's really weird that you just started a new job after having the same job for years because I am picking up. You're going to still change. I don't think you're leaving the company, but I don't think this is the position for you. The next day she called me and was like, so my boss called me in and I'm moving departments. I'm like, oh man, I am the best card reader in the world.
So let's show people your cards. And by the way, everybody, so healingcrystal.com is her product site, but we are going to be offering you a special also where you can go to jejaflazanes.com/tarot. Now, Christel has a whole bunch of decks and I have decks and I do my own tarot card readings as well. But there is something very different and unique about someone else doing them for you and using multiple decks. So first, let's talk about your decks and show everybody your decks.
Yeah. So, I got this nice deck from you at the last event. So this is one of Doreen Virtue's deck. Whoop, where's my camera? So I really like this because it's more oracle cards like Healing Heart, Waves of Prosperity. So it kind of gives you guidance. And then I have the normal tarot card deck that most people see. Which is the wands, the cups, the swords. Who am I missing? Wands, cups, swords,
Discs or pentacles. Yeah,
Pentacles,
some decks are discs, some are pentacles.
Yeah, so it shows the normal deck with that. And gosh, why can't I figure out my video here? So this is really nice. It kind of talks about your current situation and why you're probably feeling the way you are. So I love to use this for Celtic Cross to kind of see past, present, and then I love this one too. This is fairy cards. So I know you have angel cards, Doreen Virtue. This is the fairy ones, and I was first attracted to them because of the beautiful pictures. But instead of like the cups and the the whatnot, this is actually seasons. So it kind of talks about seasons. And it's more, this one, you can see negative aspects to it, whereas Doreen kind of puts it in a more gentle way, but this one is my favorite one. This is my Gypsy Witch fortune telling cards. So anyone who's used Lenormand, it's similar, but Lenormand is 36 and this is 52. And I have been using this one for 20 years. So the lady I used to go to, this is the deck she used. But it's really interesting. So this is where I'll get somebody's birthday and, based on your life path number, the number might come up, or it could give me, I can pretty much pick up intuitively if it's talking about you as a 7, or if this is saying, this is like 7 months down the road, this is going to happen. But this tells more of a story. You can have a house and money and a man, it tells you the story. I usually look at the lay of the land with my first deck, and then, I'll use the fairy cards as like kind of a second validation of that. And then to get into more details on the situation is when I break out the Gypsy Witch. So
what I love about the multiple card reading and the way that you do it is literally like some people just do one pull and they'll go, okay, this is the pull. And that's fine. But you'll double check, triple check that they all say the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is really unique and very cool. And Christel does have a very heightened intuition. She hits a lot of clairvoyance in her dreams. She sees things happening and, for people, but she also is pretty in touch with, especially when it's not about her, other people's stuff. She can really feel that. So what I've asked Christel to do for all of you who's interested, because her pricing will go up. She's in my mastermind. She needs to make her money back, and she's really good at this because she also records it on Zoom, and you get the recording. And they're usually about an hour long. They could be a little bit less if you don't have a lot you want to talk about, but I would encourage you to use the whole hour. And so we're going to be doing a special, and the special is $97 for your tarot card reading, and that will include a $20 free gift certificate towards a free product. So for instance, if she tells you have a lot of negative energy in your reading, she may say, here, get the clearing spray. Now, shipping and handling is not included. You'll have to pay for shipping and handling, but you'll get a free clearing spray or rose spray if you need more love in your life, or, whatever product comes up in your reading. You can use that. It's up to $20. Doesn't have to be $20, but $20 for one free product from Healing Christel. You can get a bath salt to detox your energy field from, and your muscles at the same time. So she can help you with that choice of the product based on your reading, or you can just pick whatever you like from the site and then apply that coupon. Just again, pay for shipping and handling, which shouldn't be very much. And then you get your reading plus a product for $97. So it's a JJ only special, So you have to go to jjflazanes.com/tarot, whichever, TAROT. Again, all the links are in the show notes if you're listening to the podcast and you're not here on the video where you see my screen. And if you want to go check out her products because you are interested in buying her products right now, healingcrystal.com. That's CHRISTEL when you hear Christel say it every time because she doesn't want you to think it's CY. So CHRISTEL, healingcrystal.com. And again, site made by Charlene Parks from Amika Consulting, also part of the Mastermind. And if you want to follow her on social media, follow her at Healing Christel for her Instagram. And then if she ends up getting more active on the Facebook page, she'll move you over there or ask you to join her over there, but definitely on Instagram, because in the Mastermind, we did a whole marketing on how to market more on Instagram. And so I'm encouraging everybody in the Mastermind to do more on Instagram, because I kind of feel like those of you that follow us on Instagram actually care more. Like it's just not a platform where you're just connecting to advertise to each other necessarily. Like it's a little more personal. Like you show, the food that you're eating and your kids and your parents and your spouses and your animals and your house and your kitchens. And so I really love what happens on Instagram. And by the way, I'm at JJ in case those of you want to follow me, but at Healing Christel to follow her there to get this special $97 hour-long tarot card reading that you get a video of and a free product from Healing Christel, jjflazanes.com/tarot. And this will be a limited offer. It will not last forever, and you can't get this anywhere else. So please go to jjflazanes.com/tarot to get that special deal from Christel. And again, today's show, lessons are repeated to learn. So just Christel, before we end today's show, what are some of the lessons that you're still learning and that you're still working on? So people don't think, okay, well, she's at the end and she's done her 2 years and she's done and she has her business and she's going to be done. Like, what are some of the things you're still learning?
Yes, you're always learning something. One of the things I'm constantly having to work on, self-love. I've come a long way with acceptance. But there's always work to do with that. And I'm still working on that. Self-gratification. Oh my gosh. So the whole conversation we had, I know I have this revenue coming in January, but I need to pay a bill right now. It's that instant. I need this instantly. Same with my health, hello, I did keto for a week. How come I'm not 50 pounds lighter, JJ? I did what you said. So it's that
instant gratification.
But it goes with the self-love too. That's where that's a lesson I'm learning too. I will sabotage. And that is something I am still working on, I didn't see the scale move the way I wanted it to, so I'll sabotage. So definitely working on, my love language is words of affirmation. So, the conversation we have, JJ, is, okay, well, you have to tell yourself that. You can't look in the mirror and say, oh, I don't like the way I look today, because you wouldn't want someone else to say that to you. So it's given those loving myself through my words and through my actions. And my body's not going to be a supermodel if I look at it and say, oh, I don't like this poochie here.
Good. Yeah. Well, self-love is an overtime kind of lesson anyway. And I think that there are steps and there are clear steps. I know that I believe that your mother mentioned that she thought you were more confident since you've been attending the events and working with me, which is a great. And I know your relationship with her has shifted, and your relationship with your husband has shifted, and there have been improvements in pretty much all areas, right?
Yes, all areas. It's really interesting, COVID, you can say all the negative you want, but being in a higher mindset has definitely helped me through the struggling times, because if I was where I was at 2 years ago, I would it would not be a a good year with COVID on top of it. So, um, learning some of those lessons already has definitely helped me during um, an unexpected time. So, definitely.
Any last parting words for anyone out there? Talk to who you were back then, and anything you'd want to say to people who are like you or stuck where you were, or having that sort of negative conversation about being stuck and not being able to move forward, and doom and gloom and victim.
Oh yeah, that girl. Oh my god, I'm glad I killed her off. Lordy.
You
No,
did
but
not kill her off. Hold
I'm
on.
just kidding.
I know, but one of the exercises that I had Christel do before we recorded today's show was to go back and watch herself from 2 years ago at the event. And what did you say? What loving thing did you say about that girl?
Oh my gosh. I just wanted to hug her, Oh, she was just sad, and she felt unloved and lonely and not good enough and judged, and and now I'm in a place of self-acceptance and more confidence, and during that first circle I kind of talked about the whole people pleasing, and you know um I was a victim too, or maybe feeling sorry for myself, or maybe I thought I was unloved because, I do all this, but I don't get it back. And, that's before I realized that I have to give it to myself. I can't expect to get this from someone else. So, so yeah, I'm just so proud of that girl for going to the event, and obviously the events are like-minded people too. So being in that community, in a safe space, in a safe space, I felt comfortable opening up to strangers, and it was just a huge weight. And then in that last circle on the third day, oh my gosh, the tone in my voice just changed. There was more excitement, like that weight was lifted, like, "Oh, there is hope. This isn't like a dead end." I think I went in just feeling sad and hopeless, and, if I can get one thing out of this, great, and, hopefully get a little happy. And I went leaving with so many tools and a plan, and couldn't wait, and I kept going. It wasn't like, "Oh, this is exciting, and now put my notebooks away." You know, it's on you to keep going, and I did, with events, with one-on-ones, with my, daily routines and practices. It's something that I'm still working on, but it's just, back then real quick also, I didn't understand, how me doing some of these things would change someone else, because that was my thing. Well, yeah, but so and so is angry or always crabby or negative. So it doesn't matter if I'm doing these things if they're like that. How do I change that person? And that was the big thing I learned too. Oh, you can't change those people. You got to change yourself. They're either going to come to your frequency, not come to your frequency, come to your frequency, or you're going to, there's a lesson learned there, and you need to realize what your next steps are going to be. And um, boy, it's so interesting. The people in my life who, one fight in a year is like nothing compared to what I could have said, a few years ago. It does make a difference. You making yourself happy then makes others around you happy too. So that was
Perfect.
a long-winded, but yes.
No, it's perfect. So lessons are repeated, and to learn, you have to heal yourself in order to affect others. You have to be aware of your own habits and patterns, and take them on, and keep doing the work. And you know what? If you need help with what work to be working on, you can get this very special deal with Christel for the tarot card readings. Again, it's only a JJ special, which includes a free product from healingcrystal.com, jjflazanes.com/tarot. Get it now because the price will go up because she is really good. And I haven't had anyone on the show who does tarot. I mean, I have, but no one's like actually been offered, offering those before. And I do them. And Jeannie Peters also does tarot card readings. That's who got me kind of into it. But again, we dabble as well as Christel's been dabbling, but Christel's got a different, unique way of doing it. I really love it. And she'll be my go-to person when I want some help with answering a question that I can't get out of my mind or something, if I should do this or do that. And I want to look at the cards to do that. So I encourage you all to reach out. And again, if you just want to check out her products, also go to healingcrystal.com. All of these links will be in the show notes. You'll be hearing more from Christel because as she's doing the executive track in the Mastermind of 2021, you're going to hear a year from now what's happened to her so she can show you how much she's grown, both her business and personally. So get on board. It's only going to get better. Thanks, Christel, for being here today.
Thank you, JJ.